all of you will be happy that we waited a couple days to get those finalized. In addition to that, we're going to take you obviously through Big Five. Mike's going to talk about that, and we're going to talk also about some recognition and the folks that are doing really well. And I think that's a great time to celebrate Q3 as we wrap it up. And I just wanted to comment also in regards to the efforts around the Adeline promotion that was launched recently. Phenomenal job in getting the results, especially on the Magenta Biller. You guys have been cranking. I will tell you, it's exceeded our expectations. I know that promotion ends today, and we're reverting back to what we had prior. But I just want to thank everybody for putting the effort and the work in on that. And as we head into Q4, we've got some exciting stuff happening, especially around 5G and obviously NPI coming. So with that, let me just reiterate the importance of this call and the information that we're sharing on this call. It's highly confidential. It's meant just for you. We love doing these calls in advance of the quarter and sharing information. And obviously, we'll have Q&A at the end of this call. So if you got questions, feel free to put those in chat. We'll respond to those live. And if you want to talk live at the end of the presentation, feel free to do that as well. And we'll queue you up at the end of the deck to take you through that. So with that, let me kind of quickly recap. I think I did this already. Here's the agenda. We'll cover off on these programs, and I'll turn it over to Santowski to take us through the Big Five results. Mike?
Yeah, thanks, Doug, and welcome to the end of a quarter and a new quarter. And we're really excited to kind of talk about the Big Five and making sure that we're driving top-down and bottoms-up consistency as your teams, mobile experts, and your other teams as directors and DMs are going from store to store. Everybody's aligned to all the key initiatives. So let's jump in. So we're seeing a lot of great things happening and a lot of great momentum happening within the business regarding September and the Big Five from left to right. These are all familiar to you, from conversion rates, accessory attachments, TFB. We'll talk about a little more on the next slide, customer experience and operational excellence. But let's focus on conversion rates. You know, across the board, conversion rates continue to be on the rise, and it's really evident not only from the conversion rates across the board, but also with our accessory attach. But a positive momentum regarding postpaid at 6.5%. Prepaid, still some opportunity. Let's continue to make sure we're driving four-wall execution. Every opportunity is a sale. When you think about some recent announcements, and you think about, Boost, and you think about Verizon and Track, this is an opportunity for us to continue to capture that prepaid business. And then BTS at 1.3, so we still have some work there to do as well. Accessory attach, even though it's down slightly, we are rocking and rolling holistically regarding our accessory attach. We still have a lot of room to improve, but that trajectory is continuing to move upward. Even though we're kind of pointing down here, but we're pretty pleased where we are, but we got a lot of more work to do there. TFB, 37% on ME and 0.8 lead. I'll just stop there for a second, and you'll see as we move into the Big Five for the month of October. It's really important to make sure, number one is, we're driving leads, we're driving ME participation, but in the same breath, everybody understands, we have our new identification process regarding sold prop. The good news, and we'll talk about this on the next slide in more detail, we're not going to start charging back. However, we reserve the right to, and we've got a lot of work to improve, just like we did with military and other plans. We'll talk about that in a minute. It all starts with customer experience, right? When you think about customer experience, we are best in class. We're a little bit behind, little slippage there, 9.5 on SME and 78.8. But let's continue to reinforce that with our teams and making sure we're selling the right way at the point of sale and taking care of those customers as they walk in. Operational excellence, we talk about this all the time, right? You got to not only take care of your front yard, but you got to take care of your backyard. So we got to continue to go down that path. So for the month of September, we're sitting at 97% welcome check-in, thank you, and 92% of the hub. And remember, the hub is really, really important. We do everything we can to get you the information as quickly as possible, but making sure those frontline folks check the hub is critically important. Let's click into what we're going to do for the month of October. Okay, not a lot of change here. We're going to go conversion rates at 5.5 for postpaid, 1 on prepaid, 1.6 on BTS. Accessory attachments, we're going to crank up. We're going to go to 60% on handsets with accessories. TFB, 65% ME participation and 2 lead acts per store. Customer experience at 9.6 SME, 82 NPS, In operational excellence, we have a little bit of a change up, right? We're going to throw 95% sole prop validation is what I just discussed. And again, I know this group really, really well. And when we put something in front of you to make sure that we're driving the right behavior, I know you guys and your frontline folks will do everything we can to drive that verification and that validation. As we think about these connect to use that are coming up here in the next several weeks, et cetera, I can tell you this will be a hot topic coming from the field. So let's make sure we're driving the sole prop validation. With that said, we did make a little tweak to our weighting regarding the Big Five. We took 5 points of weighting off a customer experience and we shifted that in and we added those 5 points to take the TFB weighting from 10 to 15%. Why? It's critically important that we get this going, right? We've got the RDM program going in some select stores. Every dealer knows come January, we're asking you to put an RDM in place to drive this key initiative and potentially other initiatives down the road. Okay, so let's continue to press upon that. This is our Big Five. So whether you're talking to Tracy Nolan, Chartier, Sam Cinda, Rafael Gomez, everybody that you see should be talking about the Big Five. That doesn't mean we don't focus on audits, on our standards, et cetera, but holistically, everybody's aligned to what we got to drive in store, and we look forward to tremendous results, not only finishing the quarter, but as we move into Q4 as well. So I'm going to stop there and turn it over to Mr. Carlton. I asked to say, John, I want you to go through all these programs today because if you don't like the programs, you guys can go ahead and call Tarleton, but most likely the dealers will call me anyway. But in all kidding aside, JT's got a lot of exciting things to talk to everybody about, and I'm going to turn it over to him.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. And do have some good stuff to share today. Let's start with our October programs and moving forward here. So continuing on will be our $5 monthly prepay spiff. We'll be moving into October. Our Sprint postpay spiff, which is $20 today on the Adeline, will be moving to $5 here in October, so that's a change. The $10 new postpay ban activation spiff with $5 to the ME, that continues in the month of October. The new Magenta for Business rate plan that just launched is paying a $10 spiff, as you've been communicated. The PBs, important to note here, our PB change for the 4 PBs listed below. The range of pay is moving to 50 to 125% starting in October. Typically, that's 75 to 125. We're moving to 50 to 125 for those PBs listed there: accessories, features, net consumer postpay, and net consumer BTS. And then for the TFB PB, that will pay out between the range of 1 and 125% in October. So key to take notes of those changes coming up for October. Those are our changes, keeping it fairly straightforward with a couple small tweaks moving from September to October. Moving on into our next slide. You might have heard we have something called the T-Mobile Network Experience, TNX, which is essentially putting the Magenta SIM into a Sprint handset. This is a step towards migration, but this gets the Sprint customer the full Magenta network experience while maintaining that customer on the Sprint account and billing system. There are no impacts to that customer's rate plans, the promos, or device financing, but does get them the full Magenta network experience. This helps T-Mobile achieve network synergies, reduce churn, improve customer and store experience. So this is a very strategic initiative, one of the most important initiatives for the company for the remainder of this year. There's 17 million customers that are eligible for this TNX experience, and eligibility for those customers shows up with the NBA tool. So super important that everybody's utilizing the NBA tool so that those 17 million customers can get the Magenta network experience through this TNX program. The pilot for this kicked off this week in Kansas City and Seattle, and is going extremely well so far. And we're looking for the national launch of this to begin on 10/7. That's a TBD or a tentative date, but that's the target date right now, is to go live nationwide on 10/7. Super important, and really need to get your teams trained on this and using that NBA tool, as I mentioned before. So appreciate that. Hugely strategically important for T-Mobile and for our customers. Moving forward, this is big here. For our newest TPR dealers, we know there's an opportunity with getting more POS stations out there to service all the Magenta traffic coming in your stores. We also know for our older legacy TPR dealers, some of the technology in stores is outdated. We're using older technology. And good news is we have solutions coming starting in around November. The Remo kits using the iPad Pro 11 and the newest T-Mo kits using the iPhone 8 will start to come available. You can see what's included in the kits below, including the cases, the payment devices, the scanners on the T-Mo, etc. That inventory is coming available in November, which I know is a huge ask from a lot of our dealers over the past 6 to 8 weeks. So I have great news, great news. T-Mobile is going to be providing to all TPR dealers additional Remos. So what does that mean? For our legacy Magenta dealers, T-Mobile at our cost is going to be providing 2 additional Remos per store of that updated iPad Pro 11 series with the full kit. We're going to be providing 2 to every legacy Magenta dealer. This allows you to get half of, every store has 4 today, at least 4. At least half of your fleet of Remos, or 2 of the 4, are going to be updated to the latest technology. You can still use your mini 4s to have additional POS or move them to the back of house for training tablets. But we're investing to upgrade the technology in essentially, half of the technology fleet in our legacy Magenta stores. For our legacy Yellow dealers, we're going to be providing enough Remos to get all of the legacy Yellow stores up to the minimum standard of 4 per store. So if you have 2 today, we're going to be providing you 2 more. If you have 3 today, we're going to be providing you 1 more. So we'll get every legacy Yellow up to 4. And on top of that, we're also going to provide another Remo kit for the back of house for training. So in some stores, that's going to be up to 3 Remo kits provided by T-Mobile to our legacy Yellow dealers. Big news here. We're not done yet. T-Mobile is also going to be providing every TPR store, no matter if you're legacy Yellow, legacy Magenta, no matter what T-Mos you have today, and a lot of T-Mos are being phased out because they're iPhone 5Ss. Every store is going to get a new T-Mo kit as well, so that every store has at least 2 T-Mos in every location, which matches what we have in corporate retail today. In all, drum roll, this is a $23 million investment that T-Mobile is making on behalf of our TPR dealers. This is something in the years that I've been doing, I've not seen an investment like this at one fell swoop like we're doing with technology here as we move into the fourth quarter. I will tell you that some of these pieces between the mobile payment device and the scanners, the cases and so forth, might not all come at the same time. We're looking to get the iPads first in November, and some of these other pieces might come in December and January. But all of this technology and the peripherals will be coming to you in late Q4, early Q1. So I hope you're excited, and this is going to satisfy a lot of the demand that we have out in the marketplace, and we are going to start shipping these as soon as they are available. So big news. Happy to take questions on that. I hope you're excited with the investment T-Mobile's making. So with that, Mike, I'll turn it back to you. I think we're going to do Q&A.
Well, we're gonna go to some recognition first. So yeah, that's outstanding. We got a lot of feedback regarding investments driving great customer experience, et cetera. So we're very excited to bring some additional investments to you at no cost as we navigate through COVID and some other things. But at the end of the day, it helps you just take care of those customers that are walking through the door and drive that great customer experience. So that's great news. So when we think about the Big Five, we're going to do 2 awards for Big Five. We're going to provide one of our TPR dealers, but we're all TPR dealers, right? And what we want to be able to say is that there's been a lot of great work by our new dealers, right? Yes, we do have new dealers. and when we think about our Sprint deals, we're not referring to them as Sprint. I'm referring to them something like, hey, we just went out, we interviewed, 35 dealers. We wanted to be T-Mobile partners, and now they are part of the family. And as they kind of get ramped up until how they our new TPR partners, how well they're doing. But let's go to the first one. We actually have a change for the month of August. So congratulations to Tom and his entire team. The Mobile Source has taken the title back. They had a really, really good run at number one, but for the month of August, they have taken it back. So congratulations to them and to all of us that are performing really well in the Big Five. Then we think about one of our new TPR partners and who's climbing up the ladder. So a big shout out to Wireless World, an expert choice. Great job, Christian, Vinny, Danny, and your entire team for everything that you're doing to deliver on the Big Five. So we look forward to those that are performing on the Big Five and recognizing. And at the end of the day, quite candidly, we're seeing a lot of great performance across the board. The one thing that I remind everybody, there's really two things. One, we got to continue to make sure we're delivering that customer experience and selling the right way. And number two, we've got to get all boats to rise. This team has done an unbelievable job of reversing the old 80-20 rule, right? And just continue down that footprint of just getting every door to perform and great things happen. So we're going to stop there and we're going to open it up for Q&A.
All right, exciting news. Thanks, Mike. Okay, so we have a couple options today. You can ask a question live. You just need to press *1 on your telephone keypad, or you can type them in chat. And we have already received several chat messages just saying thank you so much for the support. This is amazing. So yeah, thank you guys for the feedback. It's exciting to be able to provide you guys with those tools. So if you have questions, again, please press *1 on your keypad if you would like to come off mute.
I told Chartier before this call, the over and under is 0 for calls because this stuff is that tight and they're that good.
Yeah, lots of stuff in chat about thank you. This is huge. This is great. This is amazing. So thank you guys for that feedback. Oh, I have a question here. All right. 2 questions regarding the Big Five ranking. Will Screen Protector Attach still have a weight? And is the customer experience weight being moved to ME participation or lead acts?
Is Miller on?
We don't. Yeah, no, we don't have Miller on today. He's enjoying some time off. So
Okay. Well, let me.
We might need to get some clarification out on that.
Yeah, let me let's answer that. I want to make sure I get the answer right. So let's take that and we'll get it out in the notes to everyone just to make sure we're 100% on that.
Okay. All right. Amazing on the Remo. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
No, you're good.
Okay. Amazing on the Remo. Any update on the workstations having transactional ability until the Remos come in? And I know we have Kyle Thompson on the bridge. I don't know if that's something that you can help us with.
Or David Cameron as well. I think we do.
Or
have
David Cameron, yes.
That's my pause to let David answer the question. Hey, everybody, Kyle. Yeah, we're continuing to look at solutions to add capacity to existing equipment. The challenge we face with making existing hardware process transactions is the certification of the payment device, which can be up to a year-long process. So we're getting really creative with options and trying to find some solutions here to add some immediate relief. But at this point, don't have anything in sight that I can share with you.
All right, thank you, Kyle.
We do have a live question. Caller, go ahead with your question. Hey, Julie, it's Saber. I figured I needed to get one question in there so we can make sure Chartier loses. I just want to say,
I bet on you, Saber.
Oh, yeah,
you know what?
Summer. Thanks, buddy.
And then, I just got to tell Mike, and he already knows this. You guys are amazing. You already know that, though. Hey, my question is, we've talked about this. Like, what's like the timeline do you guys see where we start aggressively sort of moving Sprint customers over to the T-Mobile network?
Doug? Hey, it's Craig Morency on?
Yes, I am. And
you want to take that?
yeah, I'd be happy to. So the T-Mobile network experience that John spoke about during the call, that's really our solution for getting people onto the T-Mobile network as soon as possible due to various reasons as far as moving over as a complete biller switch. That's going to be, something that continues to evolve over time as customers become available for it based on their payment terms, on their existing equipment and other factors as well. So we do still have the moving to Magenta through NBA that customers can take advantage of if they are targeted for it. The T-Mobile network experience, which is going to keep them on the yellow biller, but give them the full Magenta network experience, is launching tentatively scheduled for 10/7. So that's really what's going to be able to give you the opportunity to give the Magenta network experience to all of the legacy Sprint customers.
Yeah, and Saber, I'll just add in, I think that's a great question that everybody is anxiously waiting, because when you look at kind of the results of the business, I would say, keeping and retaining the Sprint customers is the biggest, I would say, objective that we've got in front of us over the course of the next several quarters. And I think the call out is, hey, the number one thing we can do is get them onto our network so they can start to experience the quality of the 5G network and everything that T-Mobile has been building over the last 10 years. That's really what we're seeing as the biggest need, and that's why this process is so important. I will tell you, the test results are really good. It's a 5-minute transaction in most cases, and we're working through some of the other elements that we learned in the trial. But I think that's step one, and obviously we want to migrate folks as soon as we can, but it's got to be a great experience as we migrate them. It's got to be a great experience from the offer side of it too, and that's really where a lot of work internally is happening. I will tell you, that wasn't our finest hour when we snapped to the T-Mobile process and everything happened, and I think we've not done a quality job with the Sprint base in taking care of them. And so we are focused on that big time right now, and it starts with this TNX experience on these 17 million customers who today don't have access to the network. But really good call out.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Hey,
I thought you'd ask me who was going to win, Dolphins or Jacksonville. That great game tonight.
Oh.
All right. What's Sinsowski?
No, yeah. So the weighting for mobile experts and lead act PSA. So the total weighting is 15. The ME participation is 10%, and the lead act PSA is 5%. And the accessory screen protector attached, there's no change there at 5%. I just sent this out to the account team, and they have it so they can cascade it out to our dealers.
Thanks, Mike. Hey, while I've got everybody, I think the other big question on everybody's mind is NPI and Apple. And I will tell you, a lot of work happening around that. We're going to have a call as we formulate our go-to-market plan with you guys, so we have a clear path on sharing data with you as soon as we have it. But just know that is a primary focus. I talked about the Sprint base, but that's the other big piece, because there's one fact that exists when it comes to Apple and 5G. There will be one carrier in this country that gives the best experience on that product. Bar none, it's going to be T-Mobile. And so we're going to leverage this event to really take advantage of that, both from a media perspective, but really, in the customer's hands and eyes, we want to make it very clear on who who the dominant leader in 5G is when it comes to going into an Apple product, let alone Samsung or any other 5G device. But that's going to be really important. And just so you guys know, today we've got about 2 million customers using 5G, and we expect to move that number up probably 6-7 times before the end of the year. So big focus on 5G. NPI will be monumental for us.
Right. Okay, we have more of a statement here, but I think it leads into a question. And it says, we don't need a transaction, but an additional workstation would help with training. And so just going to pivot to David Cameron really quick to talk about the Remo tablets, and if you happen to have an overabundance when these get handed to you, what you can do with them.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Julie. One of the great things with the Remos, and the reason we decided to do the full bundle, is to give the flexibility by store. You can decide how you want to deploy these. So if transaction bottleneck is kind of your biggest issue, all 4 of those Remos can go straight to the floor, but they can also be pulled back a house. And those Remos can also double as training tablets. So you'll have access to all the training resources, hub, and everything you need right from there. So it should solve for both. And then for the legacy Magenta dealers, same idea there. With the additional ones, your Mini 4s, you can keep those in reserve for high volume traffic days. You can break those out onto the sales floor, or you could use them back of house for managerial, operational, or training use.
That's great. Thanks, David.
Hey, and I'll add one thing. There's a question around desktops not needed for necessarily just transactional purposes, also enabled for training. For whoever asked that question, we actually have a test going on with one dealer to try that enablement, and we've still got some work to do before we give the instructions and the go-ahead for everyone. So stay tuned. We don't want to put something out there that's not a foolproof solution. So hear you loud and clear. We're working on that, but I would tell you, let's hold until we know that it's a great solution for you before we give the instructions to everybody. Thanks.
Great. Follow up to that, David, are we able to transfer a Remo to another location if 3 is sufficient and we have a store that might need 5?
Yes, Remos are transferable between stores. There is a service ticket that needs to be opened to make sure it's aligned with the correct location. But yes, they can be moved. The one thing to keep in mind is that we maintain the minimum of 4. Now, for the legacy Yellow stores, that's not in effect yet, but at some point that will come into play. So it is recommended that you keep 4. But with that being said, they can be physically moved from location to location.
Great news. Okay, Doug, I think I'm going to kick this one over to you. Any insight into holiday shopper traffic expectations?
Well, clearly, it's going to be a lot different than it was last year, given COVID and the shopping change and how our consumers are reacting. And I think for us, what I talked to Julie and Mike about before jumping on the call here is I want to come back to this group with a marketing update to give you a sense of what our marketing spend looks like in the marketplace as we head into holiday, what our plans are on NPI, so you get a good sense of that. But we'll do that closer to the actual event and tee that up for you. We know things are changing, and I think that's why you see some of the reactions that we had towards the end of September in regards to Adeline and some other things to help boost your business, our business, and really, deliver on expectations. And so I think, we're learning just like you guys. I think the one thing that, Mike and I and the team are very consistent on is we are watching things very closely. We want to make sure and monitor, the health of our partners and the distribution that we have. And I think, part of that kind of investment, when you see $23 million in Remo and T-Mo devices going in the channel, it's absolutely around giving a great experience to the customer. But it's also an investment that if things were different and we were really cranking, that might have been an investment we hadn't made. So I want you to know that, that's an investment that Mike and the team went to bat for you folks on the call to get that money internally and put it into the channel at a time when, things aren't at 120%. And we, that's where we want things. So I just want you to know that we're here for you guys and we're watching things very closely. But we'll do that with the marketing team, give you guys an update on traffic expectations, NPI expectations and how we're going to finish out the year.
Okay. Michelle, do we have any other questions live? Oh, no, I see your note. Thank
No,
you.
we don't.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right. Last call for questions. I think we're all set, Mike and Doug.
Awesome. Well, hey, again, I know I think we've covered a lot of great things today, guys. I just wanted to thank you for a fantastic quarter. Really excited about the new folks in the TPR program and the improvements that we're making. I know, look, when we look back to August 2nd and where we started things and where you guys sit today, great strides are being made in regards to the selling motion, use of systems, all those things. So just know we're watching that and really excited about the progress we're making. And obviously, the folks that have been around a while, we are continuing to see just great performance out of you. And the investments we're making in this channel, just know this channel is so critical to the success of new T-Mobile. And you guys have built a foundation that is built on, high quality, high performance, and we can't thank you enough for everything you're delivering. And I can tell you Q4 is going to be a much better quarter. So gear up, get ready, and rest up because NPI is coming, and we're going to crank it up. So have a great afternoon. Look forward to seeing you all and talking to you all soon in the next couple weeks. Thanks so much.